Welcome everyone to the Island Life Podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 47 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 10 seasons under her belt, and
hello, everyone. We are back.
And of course, we also welcome the star of our show. He is the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his second season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
Hey everyone, Survivor F here.
And we have a double feature today. We are going through episodes 5 and 6 of season 48. And a whole lot happened. We had a reprieve. One glorious episode 4 of strategic gameplay that made sense, strategy executed properly, and left us quite satisfied. And then we rolled into episode 5. We gotta start there, unless you have something specific either of you want to bring up.
No, this one kind of went quickly. I remember just starting out right with a challenge, not really too much to start that episode off with otherwise.
Yeah, well, we gotta start with the main attraction, of course, which is the main character of episode 5, which was called Masterclass in Deception, was Bianca. Bianca, who finds herself without a vote. Well, first of all, finds herself as a loser on the losing tribe of a challenge. So now they're going to tribal council. She does not have a vote. She's in a group of 5. And when we were watching, for a brief moment, we considered, should she tell people she doesn't have a vote? But I think now, I mean, clearly hindsight, but even like in the moment, you definitely cannot tell people you don't have a vote, right?
It's tough to say. I feel like it depends on who you're telling. If they have any sort of relationship with you beforehand, then it can change. But
yeah, I mean,
I think
Bianca in this case.
I think for her it's the timing of it. That's what I look at. Like, she's doing it kind of last minute, so that's what can skew someone's opinion of receiving that information. Like, you're about to go into tribal and someone could tell you right now, right? Like, what is your takeaway going to be?
Yeah, I think it's too rush when she did it. I feel like she's put in a tough position, though, because she's stuck between 4 people, 2 that are together, and she's the odd one out. So it's hard for her to find that, because in her case, I feel like telling her vote is a very big deal. It shows that you don't have a vote, you don't have a say, so you're an easy way out to just take out. I wouldn't have told anybody if it was her. I feel like it wasn't safe. I feel like it just makes you a bigger target. But I feel like if somebody saw Justin's episode perspective, they would be like, no, you got to tell them, because then your person's not going to trust you and feel betrayed. Well, I don't care about them feeling betrayed later on if I survive. That's the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I think she had a good plan of being like, let's vote say. I think that was a great plan on her end.
That's a good parallel too, to call back to Justin. And I think if we remember from him, that ended up going to a tie vote. I'm not convinced that this one would have gone into a tie had she not revealed that she essentially lost her vote. I think that ended up putting the pressure on her, and that ended up causing a case where even Mitch was blindsided. The decision from Mitch and Chrissy, the SEBA members, was going to be, let's try to get Say out. So Chrissy changed. Why? We don't know. We didn't really get to see it. So off screen, she must have been in the know based on what Cedrek told her. He might have just told her as they're about to get into tribal. But that's the thing, right? Like, it gets chaotic if you're just about to get into tribal. You get all this new information that affects how you're going to vote.
Yeah,
So
there's a scramble when you do
the
that.
timing I go back to the timing. I think the timing was wrong if you were going to do it then. If
Yeah.
there's a little bit more tact in doing it earlier, if you feel like
Tact.
that's something you have to be.
Do you think there is a right time for Bianca?
No.
'Cause I think Ange is
No,
saying
no.
she would not have told her.
Yeah.
So
Period.
I'm
Yeah.
saying if there's a position where you're forced to having to do that, if you feel like you don't have any other out, then you want to be doing it sooner. You don't want to be doing it the way she did it.
Mhm.
Do I think that it could save her? No, but I do think it would increase the likelihood of her not getting voted out necessarily.
Yeah, I just wish she didn't tell because at that time, even if there was a tie, it would be at that time it seemed like it was Chrissy Say. Like they wanted to vote out Say, the other two wanted to vote out Chrissy, and if they come into a tie, this is it. You know, it will be up to these two people in the end. You know, although I might have broken a trust and didn't tell you my vote, but I'm here to protect me. You'll understand. And, it's just crazy. I feel like she just shouldn't have said anything, and for her to say that last minute, literally, I don't know if it's editing magic, but it feels like it was just right before going to tribal. It's like, what was the point, though? Like, if it was already being safe, why did you do that?
it is wild. Here's her quote, by the way, at least in one of her confessionals. She said, "But it does worry me because I'm gonna have a lot of damage control to do when I get home." She means back to camp. "Tomorrow, Cedric's gonna think Bianca's a class A liar. She lied through her teeth to all of us." And then she says, "My gut says keep it to myself, and then my second gut tell Cedric."
No.
And in the editing, there was like a pause too. She's like, "Oh, okay, good. Her gut says keep it herself." And then she's like,
Ugh.
"But also, I'm gonna tell them no."
No. It's just did you guys remember the eyes, the look that Cedric gave to Bianca? It's just like flashbacks of Justin, I feel it. He
Mhm.
was just like, "Ain't no way I have to go through this again," with Say in the picture. "You're done. You're out." Like, not even
Deer
a
in the
thought.
headlights.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was like, "Ah, hell no."
Cedric does not want that power. He doesn't want to have to decide between someone else and Say again. So it's,
But
what
it's
is the
crazy
easy out?
because he's been given all that power every episode.
I
Yeah,
yeah, I
you remember how we pitted where's Justin's unforced errors greater than Cedric's? I gotta do it again. Cedric's
I was about to
unforced
say,
errors
yeah.
versus Bianca's
I was about to
unforced
say.
errors in this episode.
Exactly. And I feel for your point, Will. Like you felt like Cedric did not play a good game and he's just playing very poorly. And I think we're seeing a continuation of that. Say as well, but like if Cedric's in a position where he can make decisions and have them impact the game, the decisions he's making are head scratchers. Like I'm not sure how he's deciding or what he feels is the best approach, but he clearly should recognize in some way, shape, or form that Say does not fully trust him. But I think at this point of the game, he doesn't fully recognize that.
I feel like he's blinded by it. He's like he's got this, like, fatherly part of him, and he's not seeing the fact that Say does not trust him. I feel like you could see that throughout the episode, and I'm, like, wondering, where does he think that they have a connection anymore? Why does he think that they're a team? Because the moment Say finds somebody, I guess that's what he's counting on, that Say doesn't find anybody, but the moment Say is just gonna be like, "Not you, Cedric, I don't wanna work with you," and that you could see that. It's clear.
Not for nothing. If that's what he's thinking, he's right though, because in this same episode, in the I'll just bring up the reward challenge because it leads into this. They have a reward challenge, and Say publicly is criticizing the team that actually wins, that has Mary on it, and essentially accusing them of just being store winners. And then, funny
Yeah,
enough, like they
lacking
accuse
tact.
her, la- exactly her words. But again, not in confessional. She's just saying it to everyone and Jeff, like all out there, and then making it worse at camp. So say continues to give people reasons to not want her around. So
Remind me
so
again, is
yeah,
is this the reward challenge where she herself didn't participate?
Yes.
that is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes,
what
and
does
she
that
was
say?
pissed. She was not happy. And Mary was excited because, Mary's first time winning and there's some reward to it. It's exciting. I mean, people can celebrate their wins, but Say was clearly upset. But instead of being like, hey, we'll just have to be better, happy for this team, she's just straight up being like, this other team should have some tack if you're winning.
She
And it's
she
just so
just
funny.
I yeah, I she is her own worst enemy. I've said this before. She has very poor social awareness. And, it's good to speak your mind, but like if you're in a game like that and what you say, if you're feeling that at the moment can be harmful or cause others to look at you a certain way, she has negativity in terms of how everyone perceives her right now. I don't even think she has one friend outside of a shield in Cedric, which is a major question mark. But it's just, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of blunders that are unforced here.
But I only bring it up because you mentioned like Cedric might be banking on like where else is Say gonna go if not to me, and he might be right about that. And in this episode, ultimately, Say decides she is gonna rely on Cedric's vote, and like you said, them two expect Bianca to vote with them, and then Chrissy and Mitch expect Bianca to vote with them too. So that that one aspect of Cedric's strategy, if it is even Harvest strategy, that work like that, I think that is true, but I don't know where it's leading him. This is the issue. Like that's been the Cedric story is he has been able to shape his own destiny. He's been able to decide who goes home most times. It's just usually a positive, but like I don't understand how all of his choices are leading him to winning in this game.
Yeah, I feel like he's been using this power he has that he probably doesn't even know he has, not helping his game. Like, I feel like if he was a great player, the discussion is that his moves are helping him in the future, but every single move I see is not helping him in any way.
But
He's go ahead, Well.
that said, he eventually is persuaded, seemingly persuaded by Chrissy and Mitch in a conversation, and they point out they make the case that, "Hey, man, like, you have given Say a reason not to stick with you. Do you really want to put your put your game behind someone like Say in the long term, when instead you can join Bianca and us, and we can be a four-person, maybe it's not, like, forever, but you can move forward with us." That's the pitch they make to him, and it does seem for quite a while that he's leaning to go that way. Do you
He
think it
didn't
would have,
though.
like, worked well, I know, we're getting there. I'm just saying he's gi given no other information, it seemed like he was about to pick the rest of them
I
instead of
don't
Say.
think he would have moved forward to it. He's too, like, gun shy about betraying Say. I think he's just in his core, he still sees Say of, like, the first 2 episodes, Say, of, like, that daughter-father relationship, kinda like, Joe and Eva in a way, like, where he's just like, "I don't know if I can," like, "I wanna protect her, I wanna help her in this game," but every single episode, you just don't see any improvement in Say.
Yeah, his actions towards her are much more restrained than we've seen towards other people. He's been responsible for getting a couple of people out, which I think if he makes it far enough, that could work to his advantage with the jury votes. But I don't know what the long-term strategy is for him here. It's just head scratching. That's the way I describe his game. It just does not make too much sense. Is it still keeping him in the game? But I would argue that he's partly in the game because he himself is not seen as a major threat. So the only logical thing I see for him to keep Say in the game is he kind of sees her as a shield where she's if she's not public enemy number one, she's not far behind. And in any case where he's concerned that he's not competitive or he's costing people challenges, wherever the case may be, he might be comfortable in knowing that as long as she's around, she realistically could get voted out before him. So it serves as maybe a safety blanket for him. But again, like that's not a very logical way to go through the game. But I don't know. I don't see the reason for the
No,
protectiveness
it's not a
around her.
bad point. It is nice to have someone who will always be a target before you. That's a nice benefit. It's just not usually like the main. That's like an add-on, typically, instead of like the best justification. So
Yeah,
this is all stuff not looking good for Cedric, right? We're criticizing him, but unlike with the episode of Justin and Cedric, my vote definitely is Bianca for the worst unforced error. Bianca
agreed.
Yeah.
was safe. The odds of her being okay were almost 100%. And just to recap, her plan, good plan by the way. Her plan, you don't tell anyone that I don't have a vote. Both pairs think they're going to win with a 3-2 vote with my vote. But instead, they will tie 2-2, and one of the people and she also knows, and she's with her sleuthing skills and being plugged in, she knows that Say for sure is going to be one of the votes, and then it doesn't really matter if it's Mitch or Chrissy. But the point is that it won't be Cedric. So in the event of a tie, if it gets to the point where it's deadlocked and now two people are trying to persuade each other, that's going to be for Cedric and somebody else. And she feels pretty confident that Cedric is going to give in and change his mind under the pressure of, because just picture it. What happens is it's a 2-2 tie. Now Chrissy and Say can't vote, so Mitch and Cedric vote again, but you don't get any time to talk about it. They probably will vote the same way. So now it's deadlocked, and now Mitch and Cedric, and only those two, talk to each other to try to come to an agreement on either Say or Chrissy. And if they do, then that person goes home, which means Bianca does not go home. It's pretty sound. The only danger is if Mitch and Cedric cannot persuade each other. If that happens, it goes to a random rock draw. And in that case, yes, there's a chance it's you in the random rock draw. But she's pretty confident Cedric would be the one that caves here.
It would have been funny to see that, in the sense that it would pretty much be a recap of what happened in the Justin episode, but maybe, I don't know, maybe the end result might be different this time, where Cedric is convinced, hey, this time, let's just vote you out a third time, Say, and let's see what you have to say about that.
I wish.
It
I feel
actually
like
would have been a great full circle too, wouldn't it?
it would, but I feel like I've lost confidence in Cedric, respectfully, that I think it would have been Chrissy then. But which is fine, and Bianca would be saved, but Say will still be saved.
Maybe. But remember, in that scenario, that means that Cedric successfully convinces Mitch, because one of them has to agree, because they have to be unanimous.
That's true.
So and if they can't, then that's when it's a random rock draw. But
That'd be
really,
so hard.
but really, no one's gonna. Someone's gonna give in, because no one it's gonna be a 1-3 chance, because the random rock draw excludes the people who are tied. So Say and Chrissy would be safe, and it'd be one of the other three. So no one's gonna put themselves in a 1-3 shot to be eliminated. So somebody's gonna cave. Probably would be Cedric, to be honest.
Yeah, I could see that, because I know that Mitch is loyal, and Mitch wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we could have Chrissy go.
So overall, great plan. Unfortunately, seemingly at the last minute, Bianca decides, and we had her quote before. She's trying to protect against the people knowing she lied to them, and the way she phrases it, not necessarily that she lied, like they're not taking it personally, but like, wow, she was a good liar. She's dangerous. That's what she's worried about. So she tells somebody and picks Cedric.
Ugh.
Man, and I think the way she also phrases it is, she finds out that Cedric's leaning Say anyway. So now it's going to be 3 votes Say, 1 vote Chrissy. So at that point, she's like, well, let me just join that group then, and then the four of us will just all be on the same page. That must be, what she's thinking.
I think she failed to read the room to realize that, there's more to like Cedric per se. And I guess to credit for Cedric to be able to hide that really well, or the fact that Bianca didn't read the room, I don't know. But big mistake on her part.
Yeah, so just memorable in the sense the way the episode ended, just because we saw Cedric again in a position where he could have really he affected the outcome of how things went. That's been a similar theme for him. But this episode was also had another memorable moment, like earlier on, towards the end of the challenge, where I don't know what it was called, but they had this little board that the team would compete on and all try to get a ball into a hole. And I gotta tell you guys, that looked pretty difficult. Like, I don't know, like if I was doing that challenge, how long it would take for me, but I'm pretty sure I would get pretty frustrated doing that too.
Oh,
But
for
Well,
sure. I would
have
be
you
really
played
bad.
I've had toys like that.
yeah,
It's funny enough, it's usually like there's like some kind of water or like fluid in it, and like hit the buttons and
Yes.
kind of like
exactly. Yeah.
blows, and you're trying to get the ball in like some target or
But
multiple
like
usually.
picture this being a thing that you're holding onto with both your hands. And as I think Camilla had mentioned, it was pretty heavy. So I think it's one of those things where you're probably exhausted towards the end of the challenge. You're trying to keep whatever stamina you have going and try to knock balls into like the four holes at the end. Each of the here's the neat part of this final part of that challenge where they had each person on the team have to get a ball into the hole. So it was something where everyone was involved and everyone had to succeed in order for them to win the challenge.
Yeah, that was cool because that's typically not the case. It's usually
Yeah,
not something that uh each person has to do. It's you can switch who does it, but ultimately only one of you has to do it.
I love that aspect of it. The fact that everyone had to interact in some way, shape, or form. But this is where the memorable moment comes in. We see that the Lage tribe builds an early lead, but they're at the risk of getting eliminated in this challenge because they have, I wouldn't say a weak person, but they have someone who's struggling with the challenge, and it ends up being Eve of all people. She has been someone who's done really well with challenges in the past, but you start to see that she's starting to get more and more overwhelmed, and she's starting to show that, right? And it's something where eventually she is able to lock in and push through and become the final person for her team to get the ball into the hole and essentially avoid being sent to tribal, but then also break down in the moment. It
Mm,
reveals to the rest of the tribe that, she's going through the motions, but, she's overwhelmed. She's trying to figure out how to cope with the situation. And I love the dynamic that we saw with Joe, just kind of the camera panning to him and giving him an opportunity to look at her from afar and just try to kind of like a proud dad, kind of look and see, okay, is she doing okay? You could see the concern on his face.
I mean, he
He was
looks
the only
scary though.
person.
Like the
he looks
Yeah, it
camera
did.
look
very
at him.
serious.
It
Yeah.
looks like the camera shows him over and over again, looking more like he was concerned, but
Yeah.
his expression was like
Yeah, because
Like a
serious.
he knew
glare,
what
like
was
a
happening
death
with her. He
glare.
knew that she was starting to get overwhelmed. He's the only person that she revealed to that she's autistic, that, she's not able to process things correctly or not incorrectly, but she can get overwhelmed due to a lot of like external stimulus, which we saw happening, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people were talking around her and it was not able to give her a point of focus to be able to complete the challenge. And that was becoming more and more stressful for her. Her perseverance, though, very impressive that she was able to regain some level of composure and finish the challenge. Joe
For
came up to her,
sure.
after, I think Jeff himself noticed and said, "Joe, do you want to go up to her?" We saw Joe go up to her, give her a hug, and calm her down, and successfully do so. That was huge. The fact that he spent a limited amount of time with her, but was able to calm her down, just shows the level of the relationship they built in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, I love that moment. When we were watching it, I definitely cried. It's very touching to see that. It is very
Absolutely.
human. it makes this show much more human. It's not just you plop a bunch of people in an island and make them vote off each other. There are true relationships that are being built, and there's true care in one another. Like, to see Joe, he took what Eva told him in the very beginning very seriously to heart, and knowing that this is the moment where she was saying, like, she's gonna get overwhelmed, and hold my hand, hold me, just ground me down. And it's very like it was very refreshing to see that he truly cares. And outside of playing the game of, nobody wants to tell each other's alliance, like kind of like Camilla and Kyle's, like the secret alliance. Nobody wants to know, because you don't want to tell people you have a strong alliance with anybody that pulls you out
Yeah.
from any other alliances. But he did it. And like Jeff, like I don't think in the like several seasons I watched, I've never seen that where Jeff is like, "Do you want to go?" Like, see, it's just that moment, but it felt right, and I'm so glad he did that, because it was just a one really good moment, and a very Joe is such a good person, and he's just like, I love when he responds. He's like, "If it was my daughter, I wouldn't want someone to do that for her. I'm a dad," and everyone's like, "Yes, yes, exactly." Like, that he wants his children to be proud of him if they watch this season, and I think he's just so awesome. He's building himself as an honest, like, it's funny because it's this episode he talks about a lot, like, with integrity, with honesty, and he's doing that, and I really hope he goes far. Like, I really hope he wins, and if he doesn't, this is gonna be so sad, like, to me. Like, this is gonna be
He's really
my
a
sadness.
blast from the past character. He's in the
Mhm.
same vein as Rupert. Like, he's in a different way, but, like, how Rupert was, like, the hero of his season. So similarly, Joe, clearly is the, like, protagonist of the season currently.
Yeah,
So he's
and
kind
I
of
haven't seen a whole lot of people with that type of strong character. Like, he's just a good guy. Like, usually you see, like, a buff dude that's just, like, talking about sports and buffness and how strong they are and stuff like that, but, like, he's not like that. He's like this giant teddy bear. I also wanna switch over where when Eva was playing and frustrated, I love seeing that Mary, I think it was Mary, who is I believe a therapist or psychologist, is being like, "Tell yourself you can do it." Like, say you can do it. And Eva says, "I can do it." And I think that was awesome to see too. I don't wanna ignore that part. Like, everyone was very
Oh, I
supportive, but
missed that.
seeing Mary do that
Yeah,
was
great.
very amazing to have her, as I feel like Mary kind of knew, but I love that, you never wanna out somebody that's not ready. You never wanna call them out that's not ready, and that is a wonderful thing that is seen
100%.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mad respect to Joe too. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I he's I also really wanna see him make it far. It's just you have to be cutthroat in this game, and I would love for him to be able to make it far and continue to be, like, the genuine person that he's showing himself to be. The comparison with Rupert, I see it there, but
Yeah.
I think with Rupert, we even saw a little bit of cutthroat nature with him, which we haven't seen from Joe yet.
No,
So,
there's no anger, like, there's no
he's very level-headed.
malice, but maybe because, like, it hasn't gotten to him yet, like, where
Right.
his name has never been on it yet,
Yep.
but, like, even when, like, when Kyle and Camilla took out Thomas, it was still very cool level, like, of him. He was very chill, he was very like, "It's okay, like, we're together, just wanna know what's going on," like, he is very forward and, like, honest, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. It's very,
Just
very refreshing.
just off his profession, I mean, he's very clearly a natural leader, so it's
That
one of those things that at some point, like, if he wants to make it to the end, he is gonna have to stab someone in the back, and I would hate to have to see that, but we haven't seen this full other side of Joe yet, and, I would love to see how his game continues to progress, because, like, I think the other thing is he I love the fact that he spoke to more about this than just the game, right? Like, he understands that he's showing a sign of weakness for himself, that, "Hey, I have such a strong relationship with this person. Well, what I'm doing is more important than the game." The
Yes,
fact that
yes.
we see someone speak to that, it speaks volume to his character, that he is a
Yeah.
genuine person.
Like, it
So,
truly, like, he like, if he does or does not win $1,000,000, we don't know, but truly, he won 1,000,000 hearts, like, he
so the
won my
Manu.
heart.
yeah.
Yes, he is the Manu of my heart, like, he is He won my heart. Like, I don't think I'll ever forget him. Like, this
Now,
moment was so
I
touching.
have to, as someone giving advice, I cannot advise doing this if your only goal is to win $1 million. That being said, it's not all over for Joe. There's still ways to work with what he's done. So the cons, negatives here, you are now very publicly putting yourself in a duo with in a power 2 with somebody,
Mhm.
and you already were a threat just by judging a book by his cover. He looks like a big strong guy. Big strong guys might win immunity challenges, therefore you're a threat. So those are not good. However, he's also like shown his character publicly as well. If he could leverage that, and he needs to do both. He needs to create an alliance with similar minded people, which by the way we would see happen quite shortly. But also like really be consistent with it. Then he's got a chance. If he finds himself at the end and he can do what Matav says he can and get to the end without actually going against integrity, respect, and all that, then he gets to use that as a reason to vote for him. The reason these type of peoples almost never win is because they get to the end and the jury will say, "You said you're all about integrity, but here's this, this, and this that you did,"
Oh, no.
and
Back
then you're sunk.
to Lillian with the Boy Scout. Ah!
Yeah. That's the prime example.
Oh,
So
no. Now
even
I'm
though
reminded.
even though
Tough game.
I don't know how much fault. I mean, you can listen to those episodes, see our thoughts on Lillian.
Yes,
So
sorry. Yes.
so it's a difficult road for Joe now that he's put himself in this position, but not impossible.
Yeah.
The biggest threat, to be honest, is just he's gonna be a clear target every single week. So he
Well,
just has to
it feels
deal with it.
like Eva's a bigger threat, to be honest, you know? But I mentioned in the last when we were watching that I believe what would be crazy is the fact that it will be fire making and it'll be Joe versus Eva, and Joe's gonna win. And Joe's gonna make it to top 3 by that. That's my prediction, and I'm gonna put it out here just so you guys know. But in all honesty, I don't see Joe as a big threat currently right now. I don't think people would see it right now, but they see Eva as one, as we know that Eva cracked the code for Star's idol, and Star, now knowing about Eva's backstory, like really grown to like Eva and understand Eva to another level, gave her idol over. Does that happen often? Like, I've never seen it.
Star. Uh,
Incredible. I
I don't know
love
if
What
I
it.
count
character
this as a
development?
baby's first. This is just baby's first. Why you do this? Because this is I don't know if I want to. I can't say it's as egregious as Justin or Bianca because they literally are voted out. But it is quite rare for you to hand over your idol like this. Sharing an idol is common. That can happen. Not that happens every time, but just you wouldn't be surprised if someone that's like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you my idol for now," or something. I mean, we saw with an advantage where the other episode we see Camilla giving her extra vote advantage to Kyle. So that happens. But Star's situation is for a long time, a lot of people know that she has this beware advantage that's unsolved. And actually it's pretty much everyone. She thinks like most people know, but in fact everybody knows.
No kidding.
And she hasn't solved it for all this time. But after all of this very dramatic stuff happens, she ends up telling everyone on her new tribe the situation. They all try to help, and you're right, it ends up being Eva who solves it, and to help mend the bridge, she just like, "Yeah, take my idol. Take the power I have in this game. It's yours now."
My jaw dropped. I was so shocked, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy." Because if I was Star, I would not give it. But I respect it because I see where she's talking about, like, "Hey, I have family that are artistic. I understand her now, and you know what? She solved it. She deserved it." And I'm like, "Wow, Star, that is
You
crazy
know, she
nice."
could have just
Like,
started
what?
an alliance and said, "Eva, if you're ever in trouble, I got you. That's a
Yeah,
promise.
that is a great way. Yes, I think Star, like, if I was Star, I wouldn't have given it away, but it was a very sweet
So
moment.
so you're saying you wanted her to be the star of her own show.
Yes, yes.
But, yeah, I'm I'm okay with this, honestly, just because the context here is important. It it does take away that protection from Star, but, think about it this way. This is an idol that everyone knows about. You know, it's different if it's hidden or if only, like, a few people know about it, but pretty much everyone knows about this. So how helpful is that for you if you're playing the game and everyone just knows in the back of their mind that, "Hey, this person has the idol," right? It puts a target on your back. So I think what Star did is very smart in the sense that she took the target away from herself, but then also used that to build a relationship with someone who she had a very strained relationship with from her original tribe. So I think it works to her favor. And it's a funny parallel to the Camilla and Kyle one, where similar to what Eva did for Star, Camilla solved the puzzle for Kyle. But like, as you know, like Kyle just kept the idol himself. He didn't need to give it to her. And that was something where they had an understanding. So I'm just, I guess, curious if less people knew about this idol, if Star would have given it away.
My
That's a good
question,
point.
yeah. I mean, my question is also like, what if Eva was the one that solved it? Like it was it Charity was there? Like what if Charity solved it? Would Star be like, hey, you figure it out, you deserve it, man? Like, or is it just give it
Maybe.
back? It's mine. Like I wonder, would it have changed? Is it different?
You gotta think of it. It played a factor. It being Eva after all this, and F. You're right. This has an added benefit of two enemies. This helps build a bridge. I mean, the problem. It's just you are you can't guarantee this, but based on the last 7 seasons, the merge is imminent, where you really have no idea how things are gonna play out. We've seen the most random people be a target at these merge votes in the past, and you just got safety, and like, you could just use it you could just burn it the first tribal to make sure you're safe to get through that. So it just and like I said, you could try to build that bridge with gratitude and a promise versus like literally handing it. I will admit, because she went to this extreme, she bought the maximum amount of favor from Eva, maybe from Joe, unknown. I mean, he might not care, to be honest, but maybe. And it does certainly put a target on Eva. I would like to say that Eva's main target most likely is from the spectacle that Joe put on after the challenge. And then having a public idol is like just another thing on top of that. Like if it was just the idol, she may not have been a number 1 target. She could have been like number 2, number 3, who knows. But
Well,
technically, the way it has played out, things are better for Star. But I do not
agreed.
think she had enough information to like consciously act this way to like get to where she is now.
It's just funny to see the complete shift in her personality after Eva's speech, where she just became this whole new different person. Super supportive, super level-headed, or maybe I don't know, it might just be a side of her that wasn't visible in front of the cameras before, but it just feels like her personality completely shifted after Eva gave a speech, after that challenge that we were just talking about. And actually on that topic, Will, Ange, wanted to get your thoughts. It was also the first time that I've personally seen Jeff get choked up about something. What was your reaction in terms of Jeff hearing Eva's speech and just kind of having to give himself a moment because it was hitting him hard too?
Oh, it was so touching. It was very touching because I do like. you hear this a lot in Survivor, or in especially the newer ones. I feel like you hear it a lot where like, oh, it was crazy to see this person play, and they're just like me. They are the winner of this, and I thought I could be a part of it one day. And I think it really reiterates like representation is so important, and on TV, on media and stuff. So when Jeff choked up being like, there's a kid, in watching TV right now, seeing like, hey, there's a girl that has autism that is playing this game, being on Survivor, and he's choking up as he's a dad too. And it was very touching to see. It was very touching.
Yeah, well, at least I'm part of the group that makes fun of Jeff and criticizes the way he runs things. But this was still a emotional moment. And like you see other people tear up, it makes you tear up. So we definitely all felt that. So and I can tell you, incredibly rare for Survivor Waterworks from Jeff. I mean, maybe never. That was just some research. Have they ever aired Jeff Probst's tears on Survivor? It's a good question.
Maybe he's not as cold as they say.
Hmm,
They being
maybe.
myself.
Tin Man, you do have a heart. I actually listened to the podcast with Jeff on Survivor, and he mentioned a quick story of how he showed that like part to his kids who apparently doesn't watch Survivor or something, and they thought it was very sweet. Like the Eva and Joe moment was very sweet, and they were like very happy with the edit. But then when they watch him like tearing up, they just laugh. They were just laughing at him, and it's so funny. Such a kid thing to do to their
Yeah,
dad,
that
right?
checks out.
It's like, oh, so embarrassing. Why you laughing? Why you crying like that? That's
Uh,
so funny.
but to put a bow on this episode, we actually did not state the final result here. So because Bianca decides to tell Cedrek, now this is what I believe happened. So I think this does make sense. So Cedrek hears the news. He was planning on voting with uh with uh with the other three of them. So he was actually planning to maybe do a 4-1 vote against Say. Otherwise, it'd be 3-2 against Chrissy. But now he hears that Bianca doesn't have a vote, so he goes to Chris. And this probably, you said it, he freaks him out. He just recently went through this drama with Justin not having a vote. Talks to Chrissy. It's like, hey, she doesn't have a vote. So if we're going against each other, it's actually 2 versus 2. And we have to deal with a tie. Then probably both of them ask, are you willing to vote with us? Are you willing to vote with us? If one of them had said yes, then they just would have done that. But I think clearly both of them ultimately stand their ground. Like, hey, no, I'm sticking by my side. So at that point, why should we let this be a tie? Let's just vote Bianca so that we know it's not going to be a tie and we don't deal with that. Hence, the two of them vote for Bianca. We would later learn that Say and Mitch are not put in the loop, so they vote or the original ways, just Say and Chrissy. And the 2-1-1 vote eliminates Bianca.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting in the end, like Chrissy's like, you didn't know that she doesn't have a vote. Like, do you think it's kind of weird? And then Say's just confused, question mark, question mark. And then we go into the next episode where Say is just like, I don't want to talk to you, Cedrek. I'm only he's like, she's like, I'm gonna talk to Mitch and Chrissy, and that's it. If you're Cedrek, I won't be talking to you. And
I
I'm like,
know,
yep.
wow.
Cedrek, do you regret it or what? What do you think?
This is the first time Cedrek got some semblance of the fact that Say doesn't fully trust him. Maybe. And I say that with a question mark.
I don't know. They joined together to have like a strategy session later. So
They did.
uh
I still don't see why Cedric's like this, but But anyways, they explain the
Let's
votes, explain what's
revisit
going
that
on, yeah.
on the vote for this next episode then.
Yes.
Because we will see that
Yes.
Cedrek, someone does vote for Cedrek.
Yes, yes. And we looked through it. We actually at the very end, I wrote it all down who voted for who because the votes are perplexing to me this time. I'm a little confused. And all I know is Siva was in fact not strong.
yeah. So the main attraction for episode 6, which is called Doing the Damn Thing, is well, first of all, merge. We're all together now on one beach, and momentum builds for Say and for against Say and against Charity. We also see a couple of groups. Some of them you can call alliances, maybe some not. So, for example, the original tribe of Mary, Cedrek, and Say, they do come together to talk about things. However, none of them, I think, are seriously considering being an alliance right now. But they
Right.
have established relationships, so they'll talk about it at least. A much stronger, I'm ready to say alliance right now, is between Joe, David, and Eva. The three of them seem very tight. They're ready to vote together, and they want to bring in Shaheen and Kyle respectively. So that could be a group of 5 that's also together. Then you have Mitch and, well, basically Siva. You would have thought that they would stick together, and some of them say that too, like, oh, let's continue voting together. Loggy, like original Loggy, that doesn't really seem that they're kind of split up between like those different groups we mentioned before.
They're
And I have the votes if you're curious. I know you said you wrote them down, but they have updated the wiki to say exactly who voted for whom. So for Charity, it turns out to be Joe and Kyle from that alliance we were talking about before. Then there's Camilla, who is with Kyle, although the rest of it's not clear that everyone, even if they know that they work together in that one episode, I don't know that they know they're like a strong duo. So that's Joe, Kyle, Camilla. Mary and Cedrek vote for Charity. Maybe or maybe not. They were on the same page of that. And then Star and Chrissy. This really is a kind of random smattering of people.
Yeah, I wonder how did they decide on that? Because you would think the people that working together, like Eva, Shaheen, David, Joe, would vote together, maybe
you would
Star.
you would
But
think
then,
people originally from Siva too would keep
yeah,
Charity.
I I don't no, it's ironic because I thought David would vote for Charity because David's always been like, "Hey, we ain't that tight," you know? But I would think that like Chrissy would and Kyle would wanna stay strong with Charity, but I think I just got confused. I didn't realize a lot more people want Charity out than Say, which is interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I For the most part, this was a very straightforward episode, but that final vote count was pretty surprising, especially in the order that Jeff was reading it out.
Now that I'd say
And
that, yeah, Jeff decided to make you assume it was going to be like a landslide against Say, but
poor Cedric, he's he gets the lone extra vote,
the
and
perfect game is over.
I just love the theme. I've mentioned this to Andrew a couple times that every single tribal say continues to get votes. Every single tribal.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah.
opposite of a perfect game where you don't get votes? It's like Say's got votes.
Oh yeah, what's the like worst thing you could do? Like as a hitter, it would be like a golden sombrero. Like that'd be like if you
Platinum
like
sombrero, right?
light a sombrero, do this even worse. Um, yeah, Say is probably gonna. She's she's probably not on the like leaderboards of most votes against, but I'm sure she's up there with just like number of tribals receiving votes. Because she's just been to most of the tribals, so and been a target every single time. I wonder if, because this is a spread, just quickly, who would vote for Say would be David and Eva. So they're not voting with their fellow like 5-person. Actually, David, Eva, and Shaheen. So they're not voting with Kyle and Joe. And then Mitch and Charity herself vote for Say. So Mitch doesn't vote with the rest of Siva, which is also interesting. It makes me think that even if there's different groups and subgroups, ultimately it feels like a split vote. It feels like if all these people were aligned, this would make sense. Like, okay, we're gonna split the vote between Charity and Stay, just in case one of them has an idol, and then Charity's the one that gets the more votes in that. So that's what it kind of feels like. It feels like ultimately most of them were on the same page. Okay, it's gonna be one of these two. It doesn't really matter which specifically. And I think I'm gonna agree with you. The biggest story here is, yes, turns out Siva not that strong after all, because the attitude of it doesn't really matter which one is like. Oh, so we're just letting out one of our original tribespeople go then potentially.
Yeah, which works for the other alliance of like David, Shaheen, Eva, and Joe, and all the Kyle and Camilla, because in the end, Shaheen was saying like, "Hey, we got to worry about like if Charity's still there, Siva. There's more Siva than there is like Lagi, so it works out for their advantage." But I'm a little worried about Say because Say could cause. I mean, I guess they're worried about Say just causing mayhem, but at the same time, it's like it's gonna be Say and Cedrek that's gonna go. I think it's pretty obvious that it's in their colors, but maybe it's not that obvious. I mean, we've been saying that for several episodes now, and Say's still standing. I can't say when's she gonna go.
Well, and I think this is what you were leading up to, F. Cedrek gets his perfect game ruined because Say, for unknown reasons, decides to put one vote on Cedrek. And in this case, I do not think that she was so out of touch that she thought he was going home. I think this is some nice, good old fashioned revenge.
That
That's
just
crazy.
describes her game. It's just purely on emotion rather than any semblance of strategy. She was also very much trying to get Eva out simply due to the fact that she had an idol, not really reading the room.
I'm going to say that's the number 2 story. There was a whole lot of talk. It wasn't just Say, a whole lot of people bringing up Eva as a good target, but 0 vote. No one votes for Eva ultimately. Not even Say. So one tribal down, Eva not a target and doesn't need to use her idol either. So the longer she can keep that going, the better for Eva. Because you are right about what you said for the last episode. Now having a public idol does certainly make you a target, and worse, you're in a public duo with Joe. So all that not great. But I mean, she wasn't a target this time. Maybe next time it's Say's the next target, so you're fine. Just maybe the time after that you win immunity, so you're safe there. So you just keep kicking it down the road as far as you can here.
Yeah. Another memorable part of this episode for me has been just the initial connection built by David and Joe. David, even from last episode, we got to see that he's obsessed with milk. So that made for a funny segment. And he got to connect with Joe, of all things, talking about how they both love milk. Joe mentioned something about drinking a gallon of milk pretty much like every day. So,
Ooh, I love that you mentioned this, F, because now it's time for my off the island talk.
let's do it.
Yes, they mentioned that we have Joe mentioning that he can drink 2 gallons or 1 gallon? No, 1 gallon of milk, right?
I think so,
What is
yeah.
a drink that you guys can tell me that you could drink a whole gallon of within one sitting?
Nothing. That's easy.
Not water. I don't want you to choose water. If this is a challenge or do or die, what is it going to be? You have to pick a drink.
You're saying
It sounds-
hypothetically or
Yeah.
just
Sounds
if
like
we're assessing
F
ourselves?
dies apparently.
Yes, yeah. It's either F, you gotta drink this in 30 minutes or you die. A gallon of what? But not water. Would it be milk? Would it be your milk? Would it be milk?
Oh, milk can get pretty heavy just drinking a gallon in
That's
one
true.
sitting. So
Yes.
it's I think the thing I consider is like what's in the drink. Like if it's something too sugary, then you're gonna end up being like very hyperactive. So
I don't even think about
I'd
that.
have to think about it for a second. That's a great question.
What do you think,
Okay.
Will? Any ideas?
Okay, so my first thought is to fudge stripe cookies, which is not a drink. But that is something I can
Wait,
just
what?
continue eating for a long I
I'm
could
like,
probably finish the entire package if if I don't stop myself, I just would. So that was the first thing I thought of.
But that's not the same though. That's
I,
like,
I
you know,
but it's still
okay, okay.
strange.
how about
Like
I
a mat
grind
like
it
a ma-
into water and like
like a,
with water
no,
and then
No,
put it
I
in a gallon. Can you chug
we've
it
been
I
down?
through
got
this,
it.
but
I got it. If Will
Ooh.
doesn't have one, I thought of something.
well, I
So
didn't say to have one,
for
but
me,
go ahead.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think that as a drink, the only shot that I have is not milk or chocolate milk, but hot chocolate. I think it could be
Hot
done.
chocolate?
Oh
A
yes.
whole gallon
chocolate?
of it?
Yeah, that's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
crazy.
The
That
risk.
Do you know how
The ri-
heavy hot chocolate is?
I
Oh my
know.
goodness.
I have it every day, but
Every
the risk
day.
the risk is I have the pods that I put
This
the
is a new
Keurig
thing I
and-
learned about you, Will, and I love
Yep.
that I am.
Now you have to consider because I'm doing it in the Keurig, like that's with water, and so this could change if it was milk based hot chocolate. Maybe I'd have to think about it. Even though it's probably tastier with milk, I would assume. But
Yes, for sure.
for convenience, like I don't think you can put milk in the Keurig, as far as I know. Or maybe like not recommended.
Yeah, probably you can.
Uh,
You probably don't want to do that.
Okay. I would just like to defend my take though on my fudge stripe cookies. The reaction to a gallon of milk a day is just you're drinking all of that in a whole day. Like it's a big amount of a single thing. So similarly, I think you'd be surprised if someone said I bought a whole package of cookies and in one sitting I just finished the entire package. That would be a strange thing to hear. So that was a comparison.
I feel like the drink is much harder because everyone has
I
something
agree.
they really like to eat, but like having a drink and that's what makes it such an interesting question. Because like I could probably
Yeah.
like think about a couple of things that I could like finish all this in one sitting. But I think a drink is much, much harder to think of.
I
just
agree. Like a
because
full gallon? That's crazy. I don't think I've ever finished a gallon of milk by myself, like ever. I don't buy milk. I don't drink milk. So that was like
I
shocking
mean,
to
just
me.
not in one sitting, though, like over a
Yeah,
period of time for
not
sure.
even
But
a
like,
whole period of time. It always goes bad before I even finish it. So I don't buy it.
ooh, interesting.
I'm
But
just not
yes,
a milk drinker.
I do have the answer for you. I have to think about it a
Ooh,
bit, but I think
yes.
I would go with a blue Gatorade Zero.
Whoa. Okay. That is a great answer,
Yeah,
actually.
not that heavy, zero sugar, uh, pretty tasty, I guess. It's not water, but it's relatively healthy.
My thing about Gatorade is a little salty tinge that I can't
Yeah,
stop thinking about. I don't think I want it.
I think the salt actually kind of benefits me here, but like a gallon of it, that's hard.
I mean, the key is nothing with caffeine. That won't work. I've tried in like Beer Kart. You just too much too fast is just destroying your throat. You're not gonna be able to continue. So that's
Well,
that.
that was soda, right? Like not caffeine, it's soda.
Yeah, but it's
Because
like
I was gonna say green tea. I could do
a
a nice
caf-
green tea.
a caffeinated beverage. I think would cause that like throat irritation if you
Yeah,
continue
I agree.
drinking it.
I see what you're saying.
Anything with
quickly.
caffeine would be rough.
Alcohol, no, because you just are probably gonna pass out at some point. So that's not good. I think these are all Gatorade's interesting. I suspect the zero is key. I don't know if
Yes.
you'd be able to do it with a regular Gatorade.
No, that's way too much sugar.
Yeah,
and then with mine, my fatal flaw though is like, can I keep my hot chocolate warm? Because if it gets room temperature or cold, like I can't do anything with that.
You're
Wait,
wild,
you don't
bro.
want to drink it when it's like room temperature? Oh my goodness. And you're such a slow eater. Are you a slow
You're-
sipper too?
You're
Well,
wild,
yes.
bro. A gallon
So
of
we-
hot chocolate.
Oh my
What
goodness.
do you mean? No,
He
no,
wants
no.
his
Look,
scalding
first,
hot. He wants like burn it through his throat. He's like, let's just hunt it
no,
down.
no. I just mean that if of course you're not gonna drink room temperature hot chocolate. It's not hot chocolate anymore. Like it's terrible. It's gonna taste nasty. So it needs to be above a certain temperature. I mean, literally, I bought it for Christmas. You can get a like a self-heating mug, and it'll just
Oh
keep your
my
stuff
gosh.
warm.
For your hot, do
So
you drink that every day for your hot chocolate? You use that mug?
I actually don't because I bought it, but I bought it for my parents, so
Oh,
I don't have it yet for myself.
okay. That might be a
But
birthday gift idea. I'm gonna have to get it for you.
it actually would be pretty helpful for someone like me specifically.
Now,
But
this is
yeah.
not something I would want to test you see in real life, obviously, but like, oh man, if you could pull that off like that, I feel like that is extremely difficult. A gallon of hot chocolate, like that. I agree with Ange. That's very heavy. Like I would struggle with even like half a gallon of that.
Yeah, it's
I don't
very
know. I
heavy.
don't think
Even with
so.
water.
I think it's. I mean, if he can do milk, then I could do the hot chocolate.
That's crazy. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you're like, if they could do it with milk, I could do it with hot chocolate. Because hot
Milk,
chocolate is way more than milk.
yeah, milk goes down easier. Like,
Than hot chocolate.
yeah,
Like
I don't
I
know.
don't finish my mug of hot chocolate a day, but that's because it gets like it cools down, and then like the moment's passed, I don't want to heat it up again. But if I could keep it warm, then yeah, I would just
All
keep it going.
right. Well, everybody hears this on our 100th episode. We're going to get a special, we're going to all unite in real life, and all three of us is going to get our gallons of jugs, and we have to finish it
Let's do
before
it.
the end of the podcast.
And actually, the best thing to do is marathon one of our old seasons,
Yes.
like, and uh, I need to finish before the season's over, basically, and we're in person watching it the whole season all at once. That'd be good.
That would be so good. We take a trip to whoever's place, and we just marathon it all and drink our gallon of whatever our substance is.
That
Will's going to be hot
honestly,
chocolate.
yeah. What a thought provoking question. Great question, Ange.
Thank you.
You said green tea.
Yes, I'm going to do decaffeinated iced green tea, no sugar added. Just straight
Okay.
up green tea. I think I could do it. The
Yeah.
caffeine, none of them. I could sip it all day.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, I
not
could
too bad.
glug it. Yeah, I think it's fine. Even with caffeine, I think I could handle it.
So F, before we look towards the future, I want to look towards the past. So
Sure.
we're here. This is the halfway point. Not
So,
necessarily literally, because I think there's 13 episodes, so this episode 6, but we're at the merge, so it's a good cutaway. Sorry for Charity, because unfortunately she did not officially, like in the stats, she did not make the merge. So unfortunate.
what do we got? A
And
charity case here?
and
I
that's good.
love it.
That was nice.
That was nice.
So pre-merge, how'd you like it? So the pre-merge is over. We're here. Good vibes, low vibes. Kept you
Mixed
engaged.
vibes. I think I'm
Mixed
confused.
vibes.
I think I've never been more confused throughout, where I'm like, I'm constantly swiveling on what I'm thinking. Like I keep on thinking, if today's the day, say's gone, say's still there. And then I also like to say, I love this new character development of Star, when Star was talking to Cedrek, just kind of like giving him the support. Like, I really like Star now. I think I might have said in the beginning, I'm not really liking Star, but Star had the best character development so far. Thus far, I really enjoy Star.
Keep the praise coming to the
Yes.
only person to back Star, maybe in the whole country. Thank you. Thank you.
If
I'm
Star
in the rough
wins
for
it
you.
all, honestly, that would be amazing for you.
Which
Like, that would be
reminds me,
crazy.
by the way, real quick. So Star, great episode overall. Has multiple moments with different people. Really bonds with Cedric. Also, nearly wins the whole immunity challenge, defeating Kyle. So nice work for Star. For Kyle himself, we start off this second half of the season just like last second half season with Kyle Kyle becoming dominant. So we'll see how that goes for this Kyle versus that Kyle.
Oh, yes.
But now F, go ahead. So vibes of the pre-merge.
It's such a fascinating season so far. I think I like the vibes of season 47 a little bit more overall at this point. But that's not to say this hasn't been an enjoyable season. Obviously, there's aspects of it which come across as a train wreck, but a train wreck that you want to be watching. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Vula tribe in that they're not able to get their act together. But there's other tribes that I love their vibes. Like I love the original Siva vibes. I like how I guess outside of Charity, they were all pretty chill with one another. I liked with Lagi too, similarly, not as chill to the extent that Siva was, but they're very chill. We spoke about character development right now for Star. I'd like to shout out someone else as well. Mary, I thought at this point over the course of the game, me and Andrew talked about how we thought like she was out of it, maybe like after that first episode, and she's still kind of going strong. And, she's in a much better position now. She has a better relationship with Say now, despite the fact that they still have this sort of like love-hate relationship. But
Yeah.
it's fascinating to see characters grow, and there's a lot of genuine people in this season, which I really like. So that part of it I do like, but I think in some of the challenges we've had some weak showings. So I think there's some that's left to be desired if I'm comparing it to season 47. But this has potential to be a great season out of I guess with just the 3 that I'm watching so far. So small sample size, but
You know
I,
what
I like it.
what we're missing, and maybe this is a positive for some people, where there isn't a storyline of like this group versus this group as we start the merge. Because last season it was the three tribes all making it to and then seeing who might flip from whom, which the answer was Andy, by the way, who would flip all over the place.
Yes.
And after every episode, in addition to just the drama that happened, the general's like, okay, where does this leave the blue tribe, the yellow tribe, and everything, and you could think about what's gonna happen next episode in that context for quite a while until like kind of a new group around Genevieve like kind of formed. We really don't have that as a theme, and this vote didn't. It looks all over the place, which is why I think that ultimately this wasn't even alliance versus alliance. This was just a bunch of people like, who are the easy targets? Let's pick 2 of them and split between them. That's really what it felt to me. Maybe we'll find out next
Mhm.
week. So that's the
Right.
big difference. I'm curious if you'd think it would have to. Like there's some kind of group versus group dynamic is gonna form. Maybe we're missing it. Maybe the way the vote went are the 2 groups, and somehow, like, the pre-established stuff are gonna fall apart, maybe. So, I'm curious if we're gonna see that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that leads into where I go into what's the future focus here. And normally I give you guys the opportunity to speak up, but why don't I just go first then? I think in terms of just the group dynamics that you're speaking to, that is kind of what I'm looking forward to in the next episode, just seeing how the milkmen, as I like to call them,
The
Joe and
milkman,
David, and
excellent.
the extension of that group, how much that relationship is solidified, because I see a strong relationship for Camilla and Kyle. Camilla in the preview had mentioned something about them being a very strong undercover group. So based on what we've seen, she's got the right way to go about thinking that. In the history of Survivor, I don't know about that because I don't have the history, but I'd like to see how Kyle is able to handle these 2 groups that are overlapping for him. One is a duo, and then the other being a bigger group where multiple people could be challenge threats in a season full of a lot of physical people. So just solidifying those relationships, seeing how we continue to see genuine relationships where people are not looking to backstab each other.
Yeah, I like that. I think in this episode, everyone's talking about like a group of like having honesty and integrity. It's very focused into that. So I'm just curious on how that's gonna work. But I'm also to do a little different is I'm curious to know if Cedric finds out that Say's the one that votes for him. Like I want to see how that relationship crumbles or changes, you know? I I wonder if Cedric was like, "Wait, was it Say?" Or like, "Does Say anything?" Like, obviously she doesn't have to be like, it was me. She could just not say anything and don't admit it. But she also several episodes saying that she wants to play an honest game. So I'm just curious what's gonna happen and who's Say gonna gravitate towards. And you say in this episode, she's like, it's nice to see Mary again, versus Mary's like, oh my gosh, I do not want to work with Say. Like, it's scary. So I'm just curious to see how that dynamic goes.
Very nice, very nice. Uh, because we're at the merge, all of us are now going to have to declare our winner pick. And there's not really a defined contest here, but here's what I'm gonna say. Pick someone you genuinely think has the best chance to win. You could change if you want into the future, but if you change, you can never go back.
– one person to win.
That's right. And I'll start because my choice is obvious. I will continue backing the new, I think, number 1 draft pick here, Star. Star has gone up out of the last 3 episodes, up, up, up. You're right. She got rid of a potential target on her back. She repaired a potential enemy relationship into just at worst a neutral relationship. Otherwise, Eva might have thrown her name out, but instead it's Charity. And she's competitive in the immunity challenge. She voted correctly in this vote, and just for fun, built a relationship with Cedrek. So I think everything is looking Star right now. Winner pick, lock it in.
Love it.
Ooh, I love that. I'm gonna go for Camilla. I think Camilla is very strong at a good place because, one, she doesn't seem like a challenge beast. So she gets that good little, barrier away from her. Because during this time, I feel like this is the time where people shift from being like, we're gonna go for the people that are like, just threatening, or we're just gonna take out we don't like them. But now they're really going for, we're not gonna be able to beat them if they keep winning challenges. And I don't think Camilla is there. She's great at puzzling. I feel like a lot of these individual immunities are very physical based. So maybe that's one of the things. She also has a great secret ally with Kyle. And also, like, with Kyle, it comes with other allies. Um, I think I'm gonna say Camilla. Even though she's not on my team, I'm gonna add her in.
Great pick. Great pick. You beat me to it. I was gonna say her myself because she gives me like the same reasons I was choosing Sandra. I would have chose her, but let me offer a different take. Why don't we change things up here? I like the fact that you chose someone you didn't pick, and I would have originally said Joe as my backup option just because I want to see that. But I think similarly, I like the storyline, and I like the fact that he's someone who's dealt with a lot of adversity. So my pick would be David. I think he's someone who, obviously the
Oh,
physicality is there. He's got a lot of hurdles to work through, but he's someone who also is genuine, is able to build those relationships. He does not have maybe the pressure, or he does not have the target on his back maybe that some of the others that he's working with currently would have. He also is someone who comes across as very approachable to a lot of people. If you've noticed, a lot of people approach him and are willing to have dialogues with him. He
mhm.
connected pretty quickly with the people in Siva, giving him the 4 nipples story. Was able
Yeah.
to just vibe with everyone there. As soon as Eva joined that tribe, once they split the tribes again, scrambled things up, she was able to connect with him, bond with him quickly, similar to how she did with Joe.
Yeah.
And that now he's kind of with this bigger group where Kyle wants to get along with him, Joe wants to get along with him. So his social game is good, and obviously he's very good in the challenges. His team most recently are winning those challenges. So he's someone who comes across as not like a subtle pick, but I I can find an avenue for him winning. So
Yeah.
I would lock him in as someone who I have not even picked, but I could see win.
I love that because you're supporting him and his ex-girlfriend to get married.
Yeah, the
And I
storyline, right?
am all for the love and romance here.
Get out of that trailer and
Yes.
make a life for yourself.
Yes. I would love that. I think that would be very meaningful for him to win too. Like there's some good people here where I'm happy for them to win if they do.
Imagine he does win, but then he's like, you know, you're a sweet girl, but
Oh my!
my
I have
eyes
more
are open
options
now.
now.
Oh, yes. I mean, his newfound fame, he's like, "You know what? I take it back." It's like, oh man. This is why the reunion would be great, At the moment, these guy if he won, he's gonna be like, "I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna tell her, and we're gonna get back together." Versus if we had a reunion live show, we'll know what's been going on. Maybe his ex-girlfriend's right there.
I mean, yeah.
And then you could ask, Jeff is gonna be like, "Are we gonna
Oh,
get back
okay.
together?"
So you know what we need? He needs. Well, this hasn't happened in years, but in season 7, they had the loved ones visit. They were in person,
Right.
but alas, I mean that hasn't happened in I don't know how many years, but maybe this year.
I do like the confidence. We're assuming that he is able to find a situation where he's able to get back with her. Who knows? I mean,
Yes.
even with the money, she might just be over him.
I love a happy ending, so I'm hoping the best for him.
Agreed.
But all right, do either of you have anything else you want to make known to the world?
I want the world to know that Survivor F is playing Survivor F games. I don't know.
I love that.
Okay, very cryptic.
By that
All
I mean
right.
like
I don't know
all
what
these
that
like
means. I'm
I'm
scared.
trying I'm just trying to find puns in every single episode, and I gotta say it gets harder and harder.
No, it really does. Now that I lost Charity, I mean, Charity was a really good one. But because Say is still there, I always have a say on these puns.
Yes.
So I guess it works out. Thank you, Cedrek.
But all right, thank you all for tuning in to our double episode. Hopefully we're back to the main episode next week. And it's merge time. Let's go. Until we speak again. Ciao.